Let's talk. Well, I hope everybody had a really good 4th of July. This has been a very weird week for me. I thought about posting a video I'd done earlier, and I just thought, it don't feel right. And as I was trying to edit the video up, I was either do the video editing or go catfishing, and the boat still isn't ready to go catfish. I'd have to go by myself, which is dangerous. And then all of a sudden a storm came. I said, well, then I'm going to be editing. I'm not doing catfishing in a storm. And then the storm was so bad it knocked off the power, and so I'm like, well, I guess I'm not editing. And after contemplating a little bit, I figured I hadn't talked to y'all in a while, and so I'll talk to you. So right now, why don't we go to the store? I'm gonna run to Hall's Hardware, and we're going to do get some stuff for the trailer, because I've already got some lights in, and I got some scrap metal from my in-laws, and I think I've got my trailer system set up so that I've got some runners, and I'm getting everything ready. That will be coming up on another video, but I figured giving you a sneak peek, that would be a good idea. So we're going to do that. Follow along, stay with me. They didn't have the wiring I needed, but I needed this right here. This will be a coating I'm going to use to protect the wires. So I've got that, and then I'm getting these right here. These are painted black, stainless steel, and you just have to write down what you took, and then they'll ring you up at the cash register. Oops. We're here, and as you can see, it's already started sprinkling. That's the beautiful thing about Northwest Florida. You have droughts, and then all of a sudden, every day you got a rainstorm. And as soon as it rains, all the water just dries up out of nothing, because we have nothing but sand. And then it's intense heat, and then everything's just basically dying of thirst. It's crazy here. But I'm gonna finish up these chips, because they are the perfect seasoning, perfect crisp, perfect everything. I'm gonna finish these up, and then we're gonna go in and see if they got any wire for the trailer, and I'll talk to you later. And just because some people might be asking what how to write the company or whatever, this is Great Lakes Potato Chip Company, Traverse City, Michigan, 49685, and there it is right there. GreatLakesPotatoChips.com is their website. So yeah, if you want to contact them, go ahead and contact them. Find out how you can get them into local Walmarts. We need to get a national movement for this company. My God, they're good. Before we go into the harboring of the freight, I thought we would talk. Okay, so it's been crazy week. My wife's birthday is in June, but due to some reasons that are mostly my fault, and I'll take blame, we didn't have a birthday until July 1st. And so July 1st, that was I'll show you some clips from that in a little bit, but it's just been a really weird week. And last week was kind of like, her birthday week. It was strange as well. She wanted to go out the actual week before that as part of her birthday deal, and we went out, and it was really windy, we had 1.5 foot waves in the river, and being a 17-foot hold out tracker, so basically a John boat, it did well, but I didn't want to test it. And we was about to go out into the bay, and I just said, you know what, we're not going to do that. We saw some good wildlife, had some fun, but And then from there we went again. After I got everything hooked up and everything, wife said, you think where I get gas? And I didn't want to unhook and everything. Plus I have to mix gas. It's a 2-cycle. I said, no, I think we're good. Famous last words. We had to be towed in. We were headed in. We were almost at the boat dock. Luckily, some guys, they were nice enough that they drug us in. I had to go into a different boat launch than I normally do, because it's connected. The park has a north side and a south side boat launch. We was parked at the south side. I said, park me in the north side, and then I'll just run over and get the truck, and she'll stay with the boat. I think I'll be launching from the north side. I like it a lot more. But needless to say, next time we're going to have gas no matter what. I'm going to have gas in ample quantity no matter what. But it was still a pain, so we got to get those guides. So that's the reason why we're here. But the birthday, my God, I planned for 50 guests. It was her 40th. We had a 19-foot slide, inflatable dual water slide, and you're not supposed to get on if you're over 6 foot tall or over 200 pounds. So of course, you know, my fat butt that's over 6 foot tall, because I am a Sasquatch, I went and got on it, mostly after everybody left, and got to the last rung. This is like 5th or 6th trip up. Somehow lost my grip. It spun me around before I knew it. And next thing I knew, I was going down every single steps for those 19 feet down on my back, neck. You know, all the parts were broken and injured from the car wreck. I've felt that now for days. My wrist has just now healed up. So this is the 6th of July. Yeah, that was rough. That was painful. But I did most of the cooking. My wife, she wanted a balloon arch. So we have the balloon arch. I'll link down below the company. But Grace, thank you very much for that. Actually, here's the card that she gave me. Her name is Grace Rowan. She's based out of Pace, Florida, and she is considered to be a balloon stylist and does event decor. It's called Pretty Pop. So we know Grace. She goes to our church. There's an interesting story with her mother-in-law. I won't tell it here, but let's say that her mother-in-law have ran into each other in the past. Anyway, great family, love them, nice people. And so Grace made a balloon, kind of a decoration that went over the doorway. And then she made a decoration for Tasha that was inside the 40th part. And that was fantastic. Loved it. And then another company I want to link down below to is 850 Barbecue. Now, I do most of the cooking at these events. Now, sometimes I will take shortcuts. So, like, for instance, with the cupcakes, what I did is I went to Publix, ordered the cupcakes with the color. So I said I wanted red and yellow. Excuse me. And then went to Temu. If you ever been on Temu, it's kind of like a eBay, Amazon knockoff. And I don't care for Temu for a number of reasons. Namely, it's normally cheaper stuff. They require a minimum of $10 before they do shipping, but the shipping is free, thank God. The prices are about half, but I can't get half the stuff I need because they don't carry it. And then it takes about twice as long to get it because they are not in the United States when they do the shipping. They ship from outside of the US, and that's got to go through customs. My bags always get cut open, and then I have tape and cut open bags and stuff poured out. It's always a nightmare. I don't get that with eBay. I don't get that with Amazon. It's only Temu. Probably because they're based out of China, and so the US government's a little bit stricter with them. I don't know why. But I don't have the same problem when I order out of China from eBay. I don't know what the deal is, but my bags from Temu always get messed up. But their customer service, I can't fault them for that. And they did have some neat stuff that I needed. So like you'll see with the yellow cupcakes, we made them look like pineapples. The toppers I did get off Amazon. The red cupcakes, I had little green liners, and then a friend of ours, Heidi, she ordered some watermelon candy that looked like watermelon seed. So it looks like the seed, and then when you chomp into the candy, it's watermelon flavored. Really good. So we put those on there, and so we had pineapple looking cupcakes. We had watermelon looking cupcakes, but it was Publix cupcakes that we just made to look doctored up and fancy. I do a thing that's kind of like a little appetizer deal. I love cucumber sandwiches, so we do a little spread. It's Italian dressing, the dry seasoning. I mix it with whipped cream cheese and a little dill, and then put cucumbers on it and dill, and cut the little baguettes on it. They're wonderful. I was doing all this cooking, made little pretzels that look like palm trees. Did that out melting chocolate, whatever. But like I said, I do a lot of shortcuts, and one of the shortcuts I do is for the main meats. When you got that many people and you got a party this big and you're doing a lot of the work yourself. Now, admittedly, we had some great friends, Josh and Jamie Zajac, they helped out. Heidi, she helped out. I mean, so we got some great friends, plus all, my in-laws, they all helped. My brother-in-law, he was out there cutting grass, and my nephew, he was out there weed eating. So, I mean, got wonderful family helping as well. But still, a lot of the burden is on, the main one doing the planning and the cooking and things of that nature. And so I cheat sometimes. And so I used 850 Barbecue. And so the pages, they own that. They are on point with their meats. I am a meat snob. I am a barbecue snob. And so she, she did a wonderful job. Nicole did. It was fantastic. Everybody loved it. Why not? They're great. And so we had a little bit left over. So right next to the harboring of the freight is the food outlet. And so I'm going to go there. I'm going to show a video of me harvesting some tomatillos out of my garden. I'm gonna make a green salsa. But the reason why is that we got this leftover pork, and so I thought, it'd be really good. We need to get this out of the refrigerator. It needs to go. we're gonna have nachos, and I'm gonna make a green salsa. So I'll show you how I make a green salsa. Everybody can make nachos, so no need to do that. So there'll be a little cooking segment here, but we're gonna go in and see if they got my wire. I doubt they do. And then we'll probably head back. I'll have to order that from Amazon, cause you know, why not? My God, what's another 30 bucks? And we'll go do the other stuff that we need to do as far as, you know, getting cooking, getting ready for a day. I know it's hard to see, but this is a balloon archway deal. It's a decoration that Grace Rowan, a local business here in Milton, or actually Pace, she does balloon decorations. And so we got this for Tasha's party. Right before the party, and here we got some watermelon lollipops right here. So there we go. Tasha's cake. Got some cupcakes. These are actually little watermelon candies. There we go. Some sand dollar cookies. Veg edibles. Cucumber sandwich orders. Fruit. Chips dip. This right here is a 19-foot water slide, so that will be well used. Got tables over here, kiddie pool, little splash container, more tables and canopies over here. So this is the calm before the storm. And then we've got some balloons that will be hanging up for decorations. There we go. One of the balloons there.
Y'all ready? Ready? One. Go! All right. 3, 2, 1. Go! You got it. All right, now get off. That's what I would be able to do. Rain. Rain. I can't video. Hey, get out. Get out. Where you going? Let's start it there. Hey, this way, Lydia. This one. Oh, I gotta get close. Let's clear. Hold on, y'all.
Well, I gotta say, I did not luck out with the harboring of the freight. That was a total goose egg on getting that wiring system, so I'm gonna have to order that from Amazon. If I'm gonna do that, I might as well get some lights put on top of the little things. I mean, I'll have the extra wire. Might as well do it right and do it like I want it. So I'm probably gonna make an upgrade. Didn't want to spend $100 to buy a system, so I'm making one that's gonna be about half as much already. But I had to get drill bits. That was the most expensive part. What killed me was when I went into Halls, just that little cord wrapper thing was like $7, and went into Harbor Freight and they had the same thing for $3. So like I said, Halls, you get kind of ripped off on stuff, and I knew I knew better, but they had it and I didn't know if I could find it. That's the problem these days. You don't know if you're going to be able to find what you want. And more stores are converting over to online. And it's stupid because really and truly, unless you're shopping from Walmart or Amazon or Temu or eBay, very few stores have items that are so unique and so cheap that you will look them up. I mean, it's just a fact of life, or at least it has been for me. So I'm going to order some wire, trailer wire. I'm going to go ahead and order me another set of lights. Why not? What's a few extra dollars, but it'll look really cool. I'll go to Walmart and get some paint. I'm going to paint the PVC. I've got to buy PVC. I'll get that from probably Lowe's or Home Depot. And I'll have to get some other paint from Walmart as well for the metal. I'm probably going to coat that up pretty good because it's steel, so it will rust out. So I need to make sure that it does not. I want to get some sealant as well. I'll probably get that from Home Depot or Lowe's or someplace, because you don't want to get from Walmart. That's one of the things Walmart is very expensive with, is some of their hardware stuff is super expensive. But I did find something at Harbor Freight that I thought I'd show. So this right here is a Syntec alternator and battery tester, and so this is going to be for the boat. I have 2 batteries, and I just kind of want to make sure that my batteries are always in good state. And so this is something I can keep on the boat, check, see if the batteries are going dead, going out, whatever. I'm eventually going to hook up a system that's solar powered to charge the batteries while I'm out on the water or whatever, and then have a system set up where I'm plug in and charge the batteries. That way that they're always getting charged to them. But for right now, I thought this would be a good thing to have. And then if there's any problem with wife's car, my truck, I can always check out the alternator and the battery with that. So now I've got to go to another spot. We're going, since I forgot the raisins and Food Outlet, they don't have any pico, so I'm making pico from scratch. But they didn't have cilantro, so I've got to get cilantro. I thought about making me a bread pudding. I think I've done a bread pudding recipe before on this channel, so I don't think I'll show me making the pico or the bread pudding. I'll show you how I do the green salsa if I have time. But anyway, we'll go to Publix, and when we get to Publix, I got a question I need to ask. Here we are at Publix. Thought I had the video on. I was doing a rant. So anyway, I was talking about that the rain must have washed the idiots out of the trees. While I was trying to find a parking space to go into Food Outlet and Harbor Freight, there was a lady. She took her shopping cart, and where everybody's driving down the lanes to find a parking spot, she just put her shopping cart out in the middle and was trying to manhandle an oversized load of dog food while holding a cigarette in her mouth. I was like, good night. That's a special kind of special. And then got done, got out. Me and another truck had a right away. One was coming one way, I was going the other. And this lady in Pacifica decided she's going to pull out right in front of us. I was like, okay. So almost got in a 3-car collision. Got done with that. I know a lot of my viewers probably are not from the Milton area, and so they probably do not know Dogwood Boulevard or Dogwood Drive. Dogwood Drive, I think is what it is. It's the 87 bypass. It bypasses 87 North, and it is a strip that most people take to Whiting Field. NAS Whiting Field is a military base, very active, probably the most active airstrip in America, or in the world probably. And these military guys, they have their rice rockets and suicide sickles and sports cars and everything. They're doing, you know, Mach 5, Mach 6, Mach whatever, the highest Mach that you can do, because I don't know any of that garbage. But I mean, they're leaving behind you know, they already broke the sound barrier. They're going by so fast, and cops evidently are not going to do anything because military get away with everything around here. But a UPS guy, you know, he decides all this traffic, it is a dangerous road to begin with. He decides that he's just going to stop his truck and get out to deliver a package on Dogwood. I'm like, really? So everybody is going 90 miles per hour at least, trying to swerve around this truck. Had a Cisco truck almost took out a FedEx truck, or not FedEx, a postal service truck. It was just nuts. Can't even talk about it. It was so traumatic. So yeah, it's been crazy. But I've been doing 2 videos a week, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. There is some money to this, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you about and see. I've got a lot of experiments that was like fermentation, you know, making mead, making wine, and those videos do well, but not the most in the world. And I've got a bunch of them left over that I haven't completed yet, that, you know, once it started getting a little warmer, I got the truck, I got the boat. Though fishing videos do better, people like it. I like fishing a lot better than I do staying at home. So I started doing more stuff that I like to do. I could do some of those and then try to play catch up. I'm about out of all my reserve videos. I keep videos in reserve. And so I can finish up some of these videos, and that will clear me out. My job is really a mediator. So as a mediator, I have to basically do contract work, mostly. I mean, if somebody wants to hire me for a case, that's fine, but those are few and far between. That's really not how mediation works. And no one ever tells you this until you get into it. So, I mean, unless you're a lawyer, most lawyers will only hire a mediator that's a lawyer. I don't know why, because, well, I know why. They want the mediator act as the referee and rein in the lawyers when they go a little bit too over the top, and they do things that they shouldn't do, or say things they shouldn't do because they're being too theatrical instead of doing their job. And so if a mediator is a lawyer, he can say, did you really mean that? You know, take them out to a corner and say, do you really mean that? You do realize Florida statute says this, in this case here says this. Are you sure you really want to make that argument? And a lot of times they'll come back in, they use the mediator as a referee because they're trying to be theatrical for their clients. Not saying all lawyers do it, but I also will say that, you know, the 99% of the lawyers give the other 1% a bad name. So there's that. Anyway, I have to do contracts, and a lot of my contracts are coming up. For instance, I've had some contracts with Hawaii that have dried up. I've got one other contract that we're working on keeping it going, but they have requirements that I don't need in Florida. And so I have to have work to offset those extra costs for their requirements. So right now that contract is not a fiscally viable alternative for me. So I have 2 contracts that went away. The state of Florida, the court system, I was doing divorces. That contract ended this month. In fact, they assigned me a case and then had to take it back because it was so close to July and we couldn't get it handled. They took that case back from me because they were just not going to pay me since I did not have a contract for next year. and carry it in. I understand, but stupid still. Even though I understand, you can understand stupidity, it don't make it less stupid. They also have not updated their pay scale in over 30 years. My God. 30 years they have not changed the pay scale, and that will take an act of the Florida legislature and trying to get a legislator and a senator to promote a bill. That ain't happening. So I let that go because they had a bunch of restrictions that really Florida law says I don't have to have, but they do. For instance, I don't have to have insurance, and they require insurance because the court administrator, who has no mediation experience, made a decision based off of a lawyer who's not a mediator, and no one will listen to the mediation coordinator who is actually a mediator and knows the laws. Yeah, there's that. Long way to get to this. Basically, I'm having to either find contracts or get more work somehow, bring in income, and that means work is dwindling. That means less income into the house, which that means I can't do a lot of videos. Probably my video schedule is going to have to switch to either one video a week or one video every 2 to 3 weeks. It is getting that bad, unless something switches. And so I'm doing everything I can, but it's just the nature of the beast. I mean, I can't do the business advertising that I'm taught because Florida law prohibits it for mediators. So I can't, go up to an attorney and, strike up a conversation and say, hey, look, use me and I'll, I can't do that. It's prohibited because I've got to be neutral. Yeah. So I can do talks. So if you wanted to hear videos on like writing a book, award-winning author, I could do that. I could show that. I paint on feathers. I've thought about doing some feather paintings and doing that. If you'd like to see that, I'll do some of those because I got a ton of paints, feathers. Most of the equipment, so it'll be low cost. I've got, I mean, price of honey went from $5, $6 last year for 2 pounds to now it's $12 for 2 pounds. It's no, a pound. Sorry, a pound. Almost $13 a pound. So I'm not going to do any meads. It would have to be something like wines or something. But I could do that, but again, cost, time. It takes 20-something days for it to work off, and then you got to settle and then bottle and all that. So it's a lot of time. I'd have to have a lot of fermentations. That causes a lot of problems. So I'm trying to figure out what you're wanting. I'm trying to figure out, do you want me to try to keep the schedule? If going to do the schedule, what does that content look like? What do you want to see? What would be acceptable for you to see? When do you watch? I mean, YouTube is supposed to tell me when people are watching, but it doesn't do that anymore. Used to, and that went away. So I don't know when you actually watch videos. This week it's been kind of a tester, and my algorithm really ain't changed too much, the dynamics. I'm thinking about maybe doing one video a week. The algorithm has changed for the shorts. I was going to do more shorts. You don't get the bang for the buck on the shorts like you used to. Video that I post now that I would have gotten maybe 2,000-3,000, maybe 5,000 views, and maybe 20 to 30 subscribers. I'm getting maybe 100 views and no subscribers. So why do a short? YouTube is changing up so much. I'm not getting paid by YouTube even though I'm monetized, because It's weird. The algorithms say, oh, we're going to pay you X amount of money. And then when it gets nearer the 21st, because that's when YouTube pays their people, it's 21st of the month. When it gets to the 21st, all of a sudden, those figures change dramatically, and what was dollars is now cents. And what was, thousands of hours is now just a few hours. They're doing some serious cooking of the books, I believe, but nobody has investigated them. One thing I've been playing with is Patreon. Do any of y'all actually go to Patreon? Do you do Patreon? If you hadn't ever heard what Patreon is, it's a way that I can provide additional content for you. I can provide incentives for you. And in return, you give me money to help fund the channel. And if you watch a lot of these big channels, a lot of them, you'll notice that they're not getting paid that much by YouTube, even though they have a fantastic following. They'll tell you it's the Patreon people. They're the ones that's actually paying for me to do what I'm doing. Because camera systems are expensive. Editing is expensive. You go on a trip and you're fishing, or you're getting a system for a boat or whatever. That's expensive. And I'm not doing this full time. So everything that I do is coming out of my own pocket. Patreon is a way for viewers to fund the channel. If you like what I'm putting out, you could fund me. And then I would give you things that you like, that you see as being enticing enough to give me money at certain levels. And we could do different levels or whatever. Giving a shout out be one of the things that a lot of people do. One person does a director's cut. So basically I could take a video after I edit it, then go into a system, which I know how to do it with editing. Go into a system, and then I would comment on what was happening, what we call a director's cut or something like that. A lot of people like that. They do polls. You get to talk to the creator. We could set up something like that where I do a talk. We could do a number of things. But I do need to ask, what do you want to see? One, what kind of content? I could talk about mediation. I could talk about writing a book. Could talk about conflict. Could talk about business. I have an MBA degree. I could do a lot of those talks, and those are cheap. But listen to me talk. I don't think y'all really want to watch that a lot. But I may be wrong. I could finish up, do some other stuff, and just change to one video a week. Would that work? Or one video every 2 weeks, or every 3 weeks. And just have a really good video to put out. Problem is, sometimes it's hard for me to get really good content for a month because life happens. So, would you like to see that? Would you be interested in Patreon? So that's another thing. Let me know that. That's kind of a thing I need to know. I need your input is what I'm saying. This weekend, I'm not going to be able to do too much. We've got to get things ready. We're putting in a shed. So I've got some heavy equipment. I might show some video of that. I doubt it. I don't think I'm going to have anybody take video of that. And I'm going to be with a chainsaw. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get video of that. And I don't know if you really want to see that. Other than me getting, going to the ER and getting stitches. So it may or may not work, but there is a deep sea fishing trip that the church I belong to is trying to get organized. If I go and it does work out, I'll get some video of that. That would be cool. But that's at least 2 weeks away, and then by editing time, you might as well look at 3-4 weeks away before it ever hit YouTube. That's the way the YouTube schedule works. So I need your input. Let me know. Sorry for the long rant. I'm going to now show you the salsa video because I'm going inside, getting the stuff. We're going to head back to the house. I'll show you the salsa video, and then we'll wrap up. Dear God, I just gotta say, Publix, you could do better with your cilantro. This is some nasty looking stuff here, and when you touch it, I don't know if you can see it, but my fingers are covered in sand. So all these leaves are just coated in dirt and sand and grit. So I'm gonna have to wash them like crazy. I'm not a chicken or a turkey. I don't have a gizzard, so I don't need to eat rocks and sand to digest my food. This is just nightmare. Good night. And they're the only ones that have cilantro in town. I did want to show how much dirt. That's about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of dirt that was on this cilantro from Publix. That is shameful. They should be ashamed of themselves for that. That is nasty. These right here are my tomatillo plants. Tomatillos are in the nightshade family. One of the interesting things about tomatillos that I have learned over the years by mistake, tomatillos are not self-fertile. So even though they look like a tomato and they're in the same family, they are not like other nightshades, which means that they need another tomatillo plant in order to produce fruit. And so I've got some tomatillos ready. I'm gonna make some green salsa, and so I'm gonna pick some. Okay, so you can see the husks on them. They do kind of look like a little green tomato, but they're not. They do get bigger. We've had a lot of droughts and issues with water. I don't have these treated the best in the world, so I've got little small ones. But I tell you what, they are great for trap plants. Tomatillos, bugs love them. They'll actually, there's Dee Dee right there. Hey Dee Dee. So bugs will come and they'll eat on the tomatillo before they will eat other plants. So they're great to attract all your bad bugs. And bees love the flowers. I don't know why, but they do. And so they bring in a ton of bees. And so what's great about them is that they're like other nightshades. So every one of these little nodules, you can break them off. And as long as you got different same tomatillo but different plants, so they came from different seed stock, you make clones. And from 2 plants, you can have a field in no time that's producing tons of tomatillos. And this is a wonderful crop to sell, but also it's great, for food. It's great really to bring in pollinators. There's Rebel. Hey Rebel. And it's great for trap plants to keep bugs away from your other plants. Another trap plant that I use, and you can see here planted with this other pepper plant, is I have basil. I plant basil with a lot of my plants, and that is another plant that you can just use to sacrifice, because bugs will go to basil before they'll go to tomatoes or any other plants. Now, tomatillos are like tomatoes in that they're indeterminate, meaning that they'll keep growing and growing and growing until they eventually die. Here in Northwest Florida, I've had them grow as long as up into December. So that's really cool. And the good thing is, since they're from a mostly hot area, you can get plants or get fruits from them pretty much all summer long, which here in Northwest Florida, not the case with tomatoes. If you get the bigger variety of tomatillos, these are just a standard variety, but if you get the The real large tomatillos, you can cut them up and fry them, and they're very similar to a fried green tomato. They're also good in chow chow. To reiterate what I was talking about clones, here's some clones I'm starting for a pastor friend of mine that I'm going to give to him. So these are just pieces that I've broken off of various tomatillos from my mother plants, and these are actually clones. I'm giving him different ones from different mother plants so that he can just keep breaking off and having enough for his garden. One thing about these tomatillos, you need to peel the husks off of them, and they do have this kind of chemical on the outside of them that I find displeasing, so I rinse them off. So just have them rinsed off in water after you peel them, and then they're fine to use. Alright, to start our salsa verde, got about a tablespoon or so of oil in a tall but small pot. I'm going to toss in about a half of a chopped onion. Now I've got about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic in there. Alright, so these are Hungarian wax fruit from my garden. This is a ripe one that they turn orange. This is a green one. I'm going to put one green one there de-seeded, and then I'm going to add in about a half of a bell pepper. Okay, got that. Now I've got roughly, I don't know, maybe a half pint of my tomatillos. Alrighty, so I've got everything cooked down. I've added my cilantro. I'm going to add in a good dose of salt. I don't know, half tablespoon there. Now we're doing the zest and juice of 1 lime. Now we'll use an immersion blender until it's a chunky consistency. Okay, so I tasted it. The salt and lime was a little bit too much, and because I've been cooking it, I decided to add a couple tablespoons of water, and that really brought back the flavors I was looking for. This is perfect. I'm going to put this in a bowl, cover it up. That's that for my salsa verde. Well, it's a long video, but hey, what can I say? You got a little snippet of my life and the craziness of it, and you get some of my thoughts, which I hadn't really talked to you directly in a while. Well, with that, we're going to end this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up. That really does help out the channel. Comment down below. I want to hear your comments. I ask those questions, or if there's any other thing you want to comment about, please support the businesses I mentioned. And with that, I'll see you again next time. Bye.